Hey, my name is Steven. I'm the solo developer of Symphony, the musical action RPG where you fight with the power of music. For this update, over the past few weeks since my return, I've been working on a bunch of quality of life updates. The first, new character model. This was the first thing I'd been wanting to change ever since I got back to work on the game because the old version, New version's better. His hair's better, the linen texture on his shirt's better, his face is better, he's better. And he now looks way more closer to how he looks in my cinematic, pre-rendered Symphony animations since I based this one off this model and did a bunch of work optimizing it to run in-game. Second quality of life update that I did was to switch up the way the character moves when you control him, specifically when the character turns while running. This is opposed to how it was before in that when you turned, the character instead just faced in a direction immediately with no smooth interpolation. Ugh, rigid. This is before and this is after with the directional leading added. Very nice. And I'm glad you guys like it too. Also, for all of you who've been asking me what the environment's gonna look like and the art style I'm going for, here it is. In a nutshell, basically my 2D art style in a 3D environment, and if you hadn't already guessed, the game doesn't actually take place in this middle of nowhere environment, but in an actual completely fictional setting that I've designed to have architecture loosely inspired by 18th/19th century London/Europe, but mainly London since, as you can tell by my accent, that's where I was born and raised and where I have lived for the majority of my life. Oh my god, you're British? You could say that. Oh my god, you're Brit. Moving on. After changing the way the character moves, I also changed the way the character dashes, which has seen quite a few changes throughout the game's development. First I had this over-the-top VFX the game type dash, then I changed it to this cool little PRA, little spin dance thing that I am actually still gonna use, but more specifically for evading enemy attacks. Then I had this little phase where I was gonna go with this generic dash that you see in every game, and then I snapped out of it, and then snapped straight back in to replace it with this typical dive roll, which led to this month where I was like, nah, enough is enough. This game shall have style. And style, the dash now has. Now when Stefan dashes, he slides on the floor, backflips off the floor to get back up, and finishes with a little spin because he's got too much style, man. And I deliberately made it this way, especially after I finished writing the story for Symphony, since one of the unique character attributes I've written for Stefan is that he's particularly athletic, and I wanted to show that in the gameplay, especially in comparison to the other characters that you'll play as. You'll also be able to double dash. Oh, no VFX. There'll be VFX soon, don't worry. And I also animated a bunch of animation transitions allowing you to cancel the dash at any time. After the dash before the backflip, straight after the backflip, after the spin, if you happen to collide into a wall, if you collide into it during the backflip, and did you know you can even jump mid-dash? How many games I like to do that? All I'm saying is I've not played many that like to, and I'm allowing you to. Next, since I made a new character model, I had to redo the jump and leap animations to fit the proportions of the new model. And I also used this as another opportunity to add some spice to the animations, because in my humble opinion, animations are very important in conveying information about a character's personality. Just by the way they move in game completely contributes to the believability aspect of a character, which I believe is very good for story immersion if you're building a story-driven game, which Symphony is. Hence, after tweaking the jump and leap animations, I pondered. I was like, how can I make this more like how Stefan would do it? Like that. He would do it like that. And the most important thing is, in Symphony, only he would do it like that. Afterwards, I had to add in a bunch of animation transitions to support it, and when that was done, that task was done. Now, I haven't yet actually revealed too much about Stefan as a character, but based on the kind of animations I've given him, let me know in the comments if you can guess his personality just from the way he moves. I'm curious to see if you're able to get it from just that alone. See if you can. And that is all for this update. And now I move on to the completely new movement mechanics that will be in the game, such as parkour mechanics, which I'll be adding before I advance further into the game's music theory combat. So stay tuned for the next update where I'll be covering that, and also stay tuned for the mini progress updates I post on my TikTok and Symphony Instagram stories between each update. You can see more behind the scenes real-time updates if you become either a mid or high tier patron and you're in my community Discord server where you'll be able to see all that. Speaking of which, thank you guys. Hope you've been enjoying the stuff there. And to keep track of every update on my journey working on this game and the stuff I do around it in one place, follow the Steven the New Updates page on Instagram and X. I might open up a Blue Sky for it. We'll see. Let me know if you want to see the page over there in the comments. Speaking of which, if you do have Blue Sky, follow the project and me, of course, over there too. Peace. And see you in the next Symphony update.